Theresa Langdon, a loving mother of two, Tyrone and Brooke. She is the owner of Theresa Do My Nails. Theresa is a very motivated and persistent young lady, doing nails for many people all over. Look at her artwork and wonderful nail presentation. Unfortunately, in 2012, Theresa lost her only son, Tyrone Brown Jr. He and his friend was brutally murdered. With little to no answers, this was devastating to the complete family. Tyrone had a loving father who cared for him very much. This was devastating to the entire family. Out of this was born I'll Wait. This is a non-profit organization that is designed to help young ladies with personal development to build themselves so that they may be an asset to the world and to whatever situation they decide to go in. Welcome, Theresa Langdon. Welcome to Journey to a Better Health. Today is a very, very special day. Really personal to me because I'm sitting here with someone that mean a lot to me. I'm sitting here with my first cousin, and we're here to talk today about a very, very serious matter, a matter that most people don't like to discuss, but we have decided that we're going to have this discussion today. I want to welcome to some, but I want to welcome to most that don't know anything about my cousin, who is a professional, a nail professional, and she has a few other professions. I'm going to let her speak up that, but I want to invite my cousin, Theresa Langdon, to Journey to a Better Health today. Hey, cousin, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good,
Thank you
good.
for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. We've been having some discussions over, really over the last few years, and we have the last few days been talking about just some things that you have been through, and a lot of our women and fathers around the country. We've been having a lot of situations where individuals have lost loved ones, and in a lot of cases, they've lost their children. And this is something that happened to you. You lost your son February 24th, 2012. My younger cousin, Tyrone Brown Jr. He was murdered along with a friend of his, and so we just decided to come on and talk about it because we know that these are subject matters that's not being talked about, and we kind of want you to share a little bit, maybe on how you made it through that and where you are today. But first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for a living and how you ended up here today.
Well,
with
we
your
know
cousin.
how I ended up here today. You.
Okay, all right.
So, yes, many of you all know that my name is Theresa Langdon,
Yeah.
owner and operator of Theresa Do My Nails. I've been doing nails for 32 years. I actually started when little Tyrone was about 2 so that I could be present in his life. I wasn't really big on daycares and stuff like that. So I had to do something that would allow me to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also an instructor. So I have my instructor's license, so I can also teach what I love. And I do microblading and micro shading.
What is that?
For eyebrows. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you do eyebrows, and so that's the technical term. And you also taught as well
Yes.
doing this. So where'd you teach at?
MATC.
How was that experience?
It's a very rewarding occupation. However, with Theresa do my nails being my number one priority, MATC kind of takes a backseat to that because um, I'm so invested in Theresa do my nails. I want to see that come full circle. And I couldn't give as much as I would have loved to have given to MATC because, again, it's a very rewarding position and you get to sow into um, young people lives
Mm, mm.
and you get to speak directly into their lives face to face. And I didn't have really big classes. Like I think the most I've had is like 17 students, which is awesome because you get the opportunity to speak into their lives like one on one.
Well, I figured that'd be pretty amazing because I know by watching you over the years, you and I both kind of became our own business people early. And school wasn't the biggest thing for me, but I wanted to be my own boss. And I know you did go ahead and finish high school, but you wanted to be your own boss as well. So we've been in business for ourselves for about almost 30 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I brought you on about, I know that you have had quite an experience, and a lot of other women have also had quite an experience when it came to some things that they experienced. Tell me a little bit about your childhood and how your frame of mind and how you think that you were shaped as a child.
Um, well, my childhood was a pretty stable situation. I grew up in a household with my mom and my dad, biological mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
I have four siblings. I have three sisters and one brother. My brother being the youngest of all of us, but he's the big brother and the little brother at the same time because, of course, he's bigger than all of us. But
Entrepreneurs as well now,
yes,
doing
he
really
is.
well, really
He is.
well. Yeah,
Yeah, he is.
yeah.
So I watched my mother go get it. I watched my mom go get it. So this is not foreign to me. Um, my father and my mom and my father kind of had role reversal.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was our transportation to school and picked us up from school, uh, fixed us dinner. He was disabled when I was a young person.
Mm-hmm.
So we never got the opportunity to experience my dad going to a job. However, we did get to experience him doing a lot of other things in our life, and he sold into our life in a different way than my mom, but both very valuable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. These are one of my favorite aunties and uncle. Aunt Frances was a hardworking woman. Worked her job very for a long time and was very committed to that, taking care of her family. And then I do remember Uncle Eugene being there and helping in other areas. And so, but how did that shape you though as a young woman and the way you view things, not really understanding how all of that worked?
Well, I think that I kind of, as a young person, not really understanding the dynamics of my mom and my dad relationship because, again, I was a young person.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at my mom as she was doing something that she shouldn't have been doing. I thought that my dad should have been going to work and my mom should have been staying home. I mean, not staying home, but doing the chores that I think my dad had, like taking us to school and stuff like that. But and so it made me feel like I wanted to be my dad. I wanted to be the one who was in my dad's shoes. And of course, we all know that we don't have the authority over that because it's already in the plan how it's going to go. But I still wanted that. But as an adult, I learned how valuable um, my mom and my dad roles were individually. Looking down on my mom as a hard worker, but then that's what I am today. So, like, I seen her not she wasn't dressed up all the time like my dad. She was mostly dressed down because she was going to work and she worked in the factory, and my dad didn't. So my dad didn't wear down clothes. He usually dressed up and he wore dress shoes and stuff like that. So, but being an adult and understanding better, I appreciate my mom and my dad for the individual roles that they had, even though, and I wouldn't even say it was role reversal. I feel like they did what was necessary for the family to make the family work,
right,
function properly. My mom and my dad also raised four additional young people in conjunction with us, with their own children,
yeah,
which was my mom and my mom's siblings.
right. Which was a lot of pressure, by the way, because
Yes.
these are our uncles and aunties that they raised because of the loss that they had younger in life, and then those our aunties and uncles were younger, and then my auntie, her mom, she ended up taking all of them in. So on top of them having you guys to take care of, they had a four additional personalities in the home that was dealing with some trauma from what they had experienced by losing their parents, right?
I don't know if they lost their. Oh, you mean grandma and granddad?
Grandma and granddad,
Oh, okay.
right,
I
right.
was okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about they lost their parents, and then someone had to step in, and your mother ended up having to handle that burden. So as you get older, just how hard she was working hard on the outside of the house to take care of all of those individuals, and your dad was in the inside of the house taking care of all of that. Man, I can imagine how much pressure that might have been on them as individuals. The type of, because we talking about mental health and we talking about trauma, and we could imagine what type of trauma or mental health that could have caused, just the pressure of having that much responsibility. But through all of that, you as an individual, how did that shape you into the way you thought about what you wanted your life to look like, and what did that how did you begin to go after the way that you process life?
Well, I think that, like I said I processed it wrong. So I did a lot of stuff that I didn't. I went through a lot of stuff that I didn't have to go through because of the way I processed it. So I didn't want to go the route of my mom. I wanted to go a faster route, and that's why I have a nonprofit today. And my nonprofit is Our Wait, meaning we don't have to go through life really fast trying to get what we want. If our footsteps is ordered by God, and at the time they was ordered by me because I wanted to do this quick. Right. So I dated fast. I lived fast. The men that I chose, not bad men at all, but I wanted to go fast. So I had to get men that were fast. So so this could go fast, Right. I didn't want to wear the factory clothes. I wanted to dress like my dad dressed, and I don't think it's a right or wrong. I think it was all good. I think it all worked out in my favor, and I learned a lot. And I teach my daughter very different. Yeah. And when I taught my classes at MATC, and I've also taught class on my own too under my LLC. I've taught classes and then done workshops that way as well. And that's my introduction. We can pace ourselves. We don't have to do everything fast.
That's something, guys, that's getting ready to really explode is Our Wait, and we'll go more into that. But let's go back a little bit. You went out on your own, and then you ended up in a relationship, and then came Tyrone Brown Jr. And you and him were very close. I can remember you just that's your baby, and things of that nature, and you grew up. Tyrone graduated from high school,
Mm-hmm.
and you tried to give him as much that you could give to him, and then unfortunately, one of the things that we wanted to talk about, one of the reasons that we're here today, what's happening all over the world. Unfortunately, February 24th, 2012, um, a tragic situation happened. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
I'll share what I know,
Yeah, yeah,
because I wasn't there, so it's all hearsay, and I don't know the details of it. And the funny thing is, I was never that concerned about the details of it. As a mom, my process was I have to funeralize my son, and I
mm,
have to do it with as much dignity, and I had to honor God in doing it. So that was my focus. A lot of people ask me, "What happened? What happened?" Well, yeah, he's 22. I don't hang around with 22-year-olds.
right.
So I wasn't with him. I know nothing, no real details about what happened. I even went to court behind it and still never really got real details about what really transpired that day. But as a mom who has to process that, my whole focus was, how do I do this with grace and poise
Yeah,
and honor God at the same time?
at the same time. So he went, left. You were working that day, or you were doing what you remember to do, because I remember the day just as clear as well. You were working, and then him and another one of his friends went somewhere, and he never returned.
Yes.
And he was brutally murdered
Mm-hmm.
by an individual. Him and his friend was brutally murdered, and this was very, very devastating to our family. To have such a, I mean, in our family, we know that people have tragedies happen all the time, but in our family, we never really had a tragedy that big that took place in our family at the time. And I remember getting a call, and as a matter of fact, they was trying to get me to also find out where you was, and they told me what was going on, and you didn't even know what had happened at the time. um, and this is a very touchy subject, but we realize that there's so many women that are going through this around the world, and you have it's going on now. We're going on how many years since this has taken place? 12. uh, what has it been, like
Like
8 years,
11
11
years.
years now?
Mm-hmm.
So when this happened to you, and you heard about this taking place, can you remember what was going on in your mind? I mean, I can imagine that you just didn't even believe it.
Well, when I got to my mom's house, and it was an unmarked car in front of the house. I had been asking my daughter's father all the way there, you know, is everything okay? And he seemed like he couldn't get the words out. He couldn't talk, and I'm like asking him questions, and he didn't have any answers, and he wasn't really communicating with me. And he was the way he was driving to get to my parents' house. I thought that something was maybe wrong with my parents, but when we got there and I seen the unmarked car, and I'm like, oh boy, I hope little Tyrone is not in trouble, because I had just left my daughter, so I knew that she was okay.
Mhm.
And when I get in, and it's two white detectives there, and they asked me, did I know Tyrone Brown? And I was like, yes. And they said he's been shot, and I was like, oh. And I'm like, okay, which one? Because it's Tyrone Brown Jr. and it's Tyrone Brown Sr.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, because it can't be Junior, because he's a caregiver for his grandmother on his dad's side. He don't bother anybody. He's a little introverted like myself. So I'm
Mhm.
like, it couldn't be him. And they said that it was Junior. And I was like, okay, so should we go to the hospital? What should we do? And they said, well, he's at the morgue. And I was like a little taken back, and my mom and my dad is standing there and they looking at me and they waiting for me to have a reaction, but I couldn't really have a reaction because I couldn't really process it at the time, because I'm like, why would they take him to the morgue? Why wouldn't they take him to the hospital? But I guess he was um, deceased at the scene. So I just kind of stood there, and then I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do because he's 22. So I'm just kind of stuck. And I think it starts sinking in that they standing on that it's Tyrone Jr. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so what do we do? And they was like, well, we needed somebody to identify him, and your father did that already. And I was like, well, no, my dad can't identify my son for me. I'll identify my own son. And they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to show me a picture, and I said, no. I said, no, I don't want to see a picture of him. I want to see him.
Wow.
And they said, well, you have to make a decision on who will pick him up. I'm like, yeah, my sister's on the phone. And we got my sister on the phone that's right up under me, Justina. And I told Justina to get my friend on the phone, which is Michelle Pitts. And she got Michelle on the phone. And um,
And then,
Michelle got Tyrone.
yeah,
And then she made arrangements for us to be able to come and see him.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I think I was there too. I think I was there too. Was that one that there for
where
Evelyn?
the fact everybody
Yeah.
started showing
Oh,
up.
somebody to, didn't I go to the funeral home with you
I
guys?
think so.
Yeah, I went to the funeral home with you guys, and so um, that was the start of that. And everybody was blown away in our family, and I remember, you and I, at the time we up late at night just talking about it. You know what I mean? And you was just in this fog, and I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand the fog that you were in, and that you've been in for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this. And that's one of the reasons we having this conversation today, because what we're realizing is that. And then the other thing that happened concerning the matter, that added insult to injury, is that we didn't get the justice that we should have got behind the matter. You know what I mean? The individual that actually did this to Tyrone, he was able to kind of squirm his way out of the situation a little bit, which is more trauma on top of the trauma of losing Tyrone. But through all of that, one of the things that we realize, and the things that we're realizing in our community, we have so many different things taking place. But like bereavement, is like losing someone. But then you have the grief of losing a loved one and not having the resources that we need to deal with it. So we're going on about 11 years now, almost 11 years now since this has happened. And I love this program that you started. I'll wait. I just love it. But before we go into those things, in your mind, how do you feel like you were able to get through? How do you feel like you processed that? Because I can imagine that everybody has their opinion, and everybody has the way that they see it, but I couldn't imagine what a person would feel like going through a situation like that. So what has life been like for you for the last 11 years? What has it been like?
Um, if I didn't have the relationship that I have with Christ,
Mm-hmm.
um, established by my mom and my dad when we were very little, I knew immediately. I knew immediately to get to the throne. I knew that because I knew that if I didn't, I was going to lose it. I knew I was going. I knew I was going to lose it. That's my firstborn. That's my only son, and I knew that if I didn't get by him, and I had two very close friends, and they still my friends today.
Mm-hmm.
And they stayed with me, stayed real close by me, and um, I had to ask them, to leave me alone, to go away because I wanted to be by myself. And nobody really understood that because you know what kind of family we come from.
Yeah.
And my sisters wanted to be around me and they just wanted to watch me and they just wanted to just sit and just look at me. And and then I would try to be by myself and my mom would call and say, people are here, they want to see you. And I would go and do it just to appease people, but really I wanted to spend that time by myself with God because I wanted to converse with him. I wanted to talk to him. And some people say, don't question God. And we was raised, don't question God, don't question God. Well, I don't know if I feel like it was a conversation with my father. It's
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think that nobody could have gave me the clarity that I needed except for him. So how do you not it's no different than talking to my earthly father. If I have questions,
Right.
and I know my dad got the answers, I'm gonna ask him. I
Absolutely.
didn't go to God, rah rah.
Yeah.
Why you do this and why you do that? With my head going and my fingers shaking.
Yeah.
I went to him because I wanted to be okay. I wanted to
Absolutely.
be okay because I understand very well that death is a part of
Of life.
our process. I
Yeah.
understand that as sure as a man is born of a woman, he's certain to die. I know that.
Right.
But I think that my trouble was, man, like I'm so sad. He's 22 and he haven't had children yet. And I just think I wanted to understand that this has happened and stay by me, stay
Mm.
with me, hold my hand so
Yeah.
I can be okay.
I can kind of relate because it's really interesting. Um, when you go through like being told that you got 3 months to live, it is absolutely mind blowing. Okay, so when you go through these different things, and I think that's really really good. When you have sometimes you have to grab on something greater than you, and if you don't have a belief, if you don't believe in God, or if you don't have a foundation that you can hold on to, because faith is that thing that's not seen, right? And so faith is really really allowing God to be in control. And when you go through something like what you went through, and something like what I went through, something just happens where you know that if you don't hold on to something else greater than you, you're just not gonna make it through. And there's a lot of people that have went through what you went through, and they really can't say that they held on to God or they held on to anything like that. And I think that's really really good for those of you that are in a battle that's fighting like this. You have to have something to hold on to, like because you can't make it through things by yourself. And that's what Journey to a Better Health is about. We're trying to build a scenario where there's a support system. These are subject matters that need to be talked about. um, when you were going through that, you would you say, like, because the grief side of it is different than the bereavement side. So the grief side of it, the way that that's handled is what would cause a person to go into a mental health state or have mental health issues. And so for me, my mental health issue, which I did not know that it was a mental health issue, is anxiety. I had anxiety because of everything that I've been through in my body. And so a lot of times when people go through bereavement situations, when they've lost someone that is significant to them, they go into isolation. They don't want to be around a lot of people. Would you say that you feel that you went into those areas of isolation and depression, and those different type of things? And if it hadn't have been for your walk with God, would you have made it out of that? So do you think that you were there? And if you was there, explain to us what that might look like so somebody else can identify it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody losing um, such a significant part of their being. Like I take so much pride in being a mother that there's no way that anything can happen to one of my kids in the earth here right now, Brooke.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and you not be affected by it. Yes, I went into a depression. I wanted to die, and I said it. I wanted to
Wow.
die because I have to put. And then I had trouble even putting him in the ground. I didn't want him in the ground because I felt like that's too permanent. I felt like it was gonna be dark, And I know that putting him in the wall was dark as well, but my mind, you know, yes,
Yeah.
I was in a very dark place, and I can go there today.
Yeah.
I can go there today, but
Yeah.
by the grace of God
Yeah.
and my relationship with Him, and the power in prayer, and my sisters, you know, my sisters made what I went through almost a blur. You was right there. You
Yeah.
was right there with my sisters, and
Yeah.
it was things that people said to me that happened that they took. I don't know. I believe Justina asked God, can she carry?
It's okay. Take your time. Can she carry Justina ex God? Can she carry the?
Some of the weight
Oh wow, I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
of what I
Yeah.
was going through. Her friend was my mouthpiece. They did meetings. They whatever needed to be done. So when people say you have to funeralize somebody and what did you have to do, I did not do much because
Mm.
the dress that I was going to wear was picked out for me. I
Mm.
mean, they rallied around me in a way that I guess it softened the blow a little bit because you guys were so amazing. Lorenzo, you were so irritating.
Yeah, I know. I
You
know.
had to be stopped
Yeah. Yeah.
multiple times
Yeah.
by my
Yeah.
sisters, like because this is not just my cousin. This was my best friend for a
Yeah. Yeah.
long time,
All of our life.
long time. And
All of
God
our
had to
life.
separate us because we was too codependent on each other. Like,
Ain't no doubt.
yeah,
Yeah.
we had to
Yeah.
be separated because it was too much.
Yeah.
And
I remember the
yeah,
color.
you was so annoying.
Yeah, well, whatever. I know the colors was yellow, right? It was
Yes.
yellow. I remember. I went and I went and did these little band. You remember these little things I went and did? I went and had a whole bunch of them made. The pins
Mhm.
that everybody put on. I wanted to do my
He wanted
part,
to do
man.
something. Like, let me do something. I gotta do something.
It was rough, y'all. It was a very rough place to see my cousin in that state, man. Just to see, just even not just her, just my auntie and her mother and father. Like trauma is real, guys, and if you don't deal with trauma, it will go on. It will destroy families. Trauma will destroy families, and if it's not dealt with, but not only that. I mean, it's not over. You don't how do you get over something like that? So once again, we're not here talking about we have the answers because we got a really good friend of ours that's going to be coming on who is really close to Theresa. That's a doctor. She deals with bereavement. She's a doctor and a pastor, and she handles these matters. She's educated. She's going to come on and explain bereavement to us a little bit. She's been very supportive as well, right?
Absolutely. And still today, she's
It's,
my client.
yeah, it's still today. You guys get a chance to sit down. But one other thing I want to touch on, you guys don't even know the half of it. To add insult to injury, her sister, her older sister, right after, I'm talking about these young men were very close. Right after that, my cousin Ophelia, her son was murdered. So these are two sisters who had siblings, whose two siblings, whose children were murdered not long after one another. So this is the type of devastation that, on top of that, and still today, there hasn't really been any major resources. There's resources, but you have to even be careful with the ones that you want to go after because some of them you go see some places and they want to give you medication. Medication is not going to help this situation.
Oh, but they tried. They offered me all kind of medications and stuff, and I said, my doctor asked me, "Are you sad?" I said, "Absolutely." "Are you depressed?" "Definitely." I'm going to prescribe, and I said no because I believe that what I'm feeling, I'm supposed to feel. I'm supposed to feel what I'm feeling, and I want to. I want to feel it. I want to be sad about my son because when God healed me, it's not going to be because of medicine. It's not going to be. I felt like it was going to make me sleep and it was going to make me rest. But then when I wake up, I
Yeah.
still have the same issue. It's no different than some of my clients who have experience. I've had women come to me and get their nails done just to have a conversation and never came back and got their nails done again. They just want to have a conversation. One in particular told me that this was the only way I was going to get a chance to talk to you, T. So she came and got her nails done, and she talked about her son. Her son name is Tyrone also. I never gave her a rebalance or anything like that, but some of us find relief in drinking. But see, when you come down from the I don't know, when you intoxicated, it's fine. But then when you come down from it, this issue is still there. See, it's a high in Christ that you don't have to come down from. That's not gonna give me a hangover tomorrow. So that's why I knew to seek His face.
That's really good. You know, one thing about what we believe with Journey to a Better Health, a lot of the young men and young women today, and even some of us, one of the reasons why we're not able to think and function properly is because we don't have the nutrients in our body that we need. We don't have nutrition, and that's one of the other things that that we're trying to push, because there's different levels to mental health. There's different types of mental health. There's different situations, but we know for a fact that if you get the right nutrients in your body and you eat the right things, it will help you think better. It will actually help you. But a lot of times when we go through things like that or traumas, we go straight to the alcohol, straight to the liquor, straight to the drugs, straight to eating. Do you know that eating also is a mental health issue? A lot of people have trauma and they start eating. And none of that stuff is good for our body. So what we're trying to get to is, hey, whatever it is that we're going through, we need to get the right nutrients in our mind. We need to get the right information, and we need to have the right support system as well. But like you said, nothing would have mattered if you didn't have the relationship that you have with God.
Oh, sure.
You got to have a relationship with God. You got to have everybody that I talk to that have been through some serious issues where they had nowhere to turn. The only person that you had to turn to is God. Whatever your belief system is, because we're not judging who you believe in, but you better believe in something. We believe in Christ, right? So if you're a Muslim, we're not judging anybody, because what I believe in is the fruit of the Spirit, right? And then the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, long suffering, and meekness, those things, that's the DNA of Christ, right? So if you operate in those things, I don't care who you are or what you say, if you operate in those things, then you're going to be able to see God in an individual, because those things are God. And I just believe one of the reasons I brought you on here is because I love you. See, I love you enough to push you to talk about it, because you can't hold all of that in. And just what you're doing today, you don't know how many people you're going to help, to even have this conversation. I talked to our cousin, your sister. I spoke to her about also joining us, and and she wasn't ready. She just wasn't ready to address it from this standpoint, and that's okay, because everybody's not ready. But you're gonna have to get ready. We're gonna have to deal with whatever the situation is. And what we're saying is whatever you're going through, you got to seek some kind of help. You got to look for it. And one of the things about Theresa's program, I'll Wait. Listen, go into that for a minute. I'll Wait. You went to breaking that down to me. I said, hold on, I want to hear about it on the show. I want you to tell us what that means. I'll Wait. What do that mean?
It means I'll wait. I'll wait on God. I'll wait on His instructions, opposed to I believe His report over my own. And like I said, I processed the information that I had before me the wrong way. Every family is not set up the same way. So what works for one family, we can't. You see relationship goals and all this stuff on social media. What works for one family may not work for another family. And so I processed it the way I felt that it was, and I went with it. And I told my students, I tell my daughter, it's a better way, And I believe that the one of the scriptures that me and Pastor Dale went over was, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all of His righteousness, and everything will be added underneath that after that." We got to seek Christ first in a relationship with Him, and that's what I teach my daughter. And she knows how to pray. My son knew how to pray too, but I really I wanted her to go a different route from me.
Right.
And she has. Thank God.
Yeah, she's doing really well.
Mm-hmm. She's doing really
good
well.
credit score for the buy house, from what I heard. She getting ready to do some purchases, right?
Yeah, she finished.
Oh, wow, she did it already?
Yeah.
And how old is she?
She's 20. She just turned 23.
Wow, one thing I do know, the thing about God is when you go through different things, you're supposed to learn from it, and then the person you're supposed to do better with those. A lot of times people go through stuff and they just stay in it. They don't try to teach their kids nothing. What's up with that? We got to teach our kids. We got to teach our kids finances. We got to teach our kids how to communicate. We got to teach our kids how to pick mates. You don't pick a mate based off of what they have. You pick a mate based off of you. One of the things you said that you share with Brookie. You said we call her Brookie, but her name is Brooke. But one of the things that you said you share with Brooke, listen, whenever you whatever you do, you get yourself together. Don't go into no relationship looking for nobody to do anything for you. You're supposed to be an asset when you get there.
That's right, not a liability.
Not a liability, right? Thank you, Lord, for that. Give me something on that, girl. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Jesus.
I come to help. I come to help.
Help me. Yeah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
But listen, y'all, we gotta this is a long subject matter. I mean, this is a lifetime. Like, you don't know, you just don't know. I mean, you'll never exactly heal from that. But I think that the more you begin to help sisters to be better, like you want to do through your program, I'll wait. And I'm sure that this even applies to your healing when it comes to Tyrone. Just waiting on God. You'll wait on God. And so where are you at right now? How do you feel? I don't know if this is the exact right question. And you're doing really well, by the way, because y'all, my cousin
can be freestyling.
Yeah, because my cousin could be a crybaby too. Now y'all make her cry, but she's doing an amazing job.
That's my clients.
And this is how I know that her relationship with God is growing her. For her to come on here and even talk about this. Listen, guys, there's some of you guys that's out here that this just happened to. Some of you guys out here that's going through this right now. The other part of that is a lot of times when people go through this, we don't acknowledge the father. The father's dealing with a trauma just like the mother is. Oftentimes we act like the father ain't going through. I went through a situation. I had a stepdaughter. I raised her since she was about 3 or 4 years old. Things didn't work out in that relationship. So I was exiled. Like I'm talking about. So when she passed away, I wasn't even allowed to mourn with them. I was in the middle of battling cancer, and I had to literally go to the hospital while she was and look at her dead in the bed. And nobody ever even asked me how I was doing. Still today, nobody asked me how I'm doing or how I processed it, to the point I wasn't even allowed to mourn in that situation. And I'm just saying that Tyrone's father had a really, really rough time as well. And everybody needs this. This is traumatic to everybody when they go through this. So I want to ask you this before we end here. I want to ask you, what would you say to a sister or a brother? Somebody lost a child last night. Somebody lost a child last month. I know several people that have lost children since you've lost children. And I'd like for you to tell us from your perspective, what do you need to be at? You can't tell anybody how to respond or how to react, but what would be your suggestion to a person that have suffered such a traumatic loss at this point in your life, looking back where you've been?
I would say get by yourself. I would say get to yourself and get to Christ. If you don't have a relationship with Him, get one quickly. Quickly. Now I'm sure there is people who want people to rally around them, and that's fine for those people. I don't know, but for me, there was no peace. My mom got an answer for everything. My mom dust, cleaned up, swept the floor. She did everything around me, but she wouldn't even look at me because she didn't even know what to say because she has never experienced what I had experienced. So it was no help there. My mother, who wanted to help so badly, she was hurting so bad as a grandmother, but she was watching her daughter. She literally cleared the house because I'm sitting there and I'm trying to be what everybody want me to be, and I'm trying, People love me and want to be around me, and I'm trying to accommodate them, but that was not the time to try to accommodate anybody because I needed help, and the help wasn't there. The help is him. And I
Mm.
wanted to be by myself, and nobody would allow it because they wanted to be around me. And I understood that too, but I needed to do what was best for me at the time. And I said, I just wish I could die.
Wow.
And when I said it, my mom cleared the house, just emptied the house out. Cousins, everybody was saying, me too, me too. My mom said, everybody get out. And she cleared the house, and we prayed because I was tired. I'm tired. You get tired of trying to be what everybody wants you to be. This is not the time.
Right.
This is not the time for me to try to pour into other people. People was coming to me like, asking me, like, how come you're so strong right now? I'm hanging on by a thread, boo, but I'm saying I can't be what you need me to be right now because I'm trying to hold on to everything I got for my daughter, for myself.
Yeah.
But people still around you and they still see you as they need you. I don't think that people are trying to be selfish,
Yeah.
but
But they are.
and that's not the time. That's not the time.
So are you saying that when you're going through something like this, you have to get with yourself so you can hear the voice of God and not other people's voice, because so many voices can add to the confusion and add to make the process a little bit longer. So you think that? So what about getting by yourself and then being isolated? Did you feel like you did that?
Mhm.
Uh, uh, that wasn't always the healthiest thing, right?
Well, at the time, I couldn't read the Bible because, yeah, but I had an audio Bible,
Oh, I got you.
and I hooked it up to my
I
speakers.
remember that. You
Yeah,
said,
and I just let it play.
yeah,
and
yeah,
and,
yeah. I
and
remember.
I was in such a dark place that Brooke was in her room and I was in my room,
Right.
and
And she was in there going through a trauma that nobody understood either. Thank you, Lord, for you guys making it through that, man.
but praise God, everything that I was hearing, she was hearing too. Because I had a one bedroom apartment at the time, so I didn't have a lot of space.
You had a lot of
So
stuff in there, though.
well, it was like a mansion, wasn't it?
Yes.
The kids even say today, T, I miss your one bedroom
Yeah,
apartment. I'm
yeah,
like, what?
yeah,
But she was in the other room and she could hear it too.
yeah.
And she was little, she was 11, and she could regurgitate back to me when I would say, you thinking about Tyrone? And she would be like, but I'm praying. She knew how to, she was 11. And when I had to even tell her that Tyrone had transitioned, um, she asked me, is he better off than us
Wow,
at 11?
wow.
And I said, yes. Because if I didn't say yes, it would have made me a hypocrite because I would tell her that about if it was somebody else, if it was another situation and it wasn't us, it was another family, that's what I would tell her. So I had to say yes. And
Wow.
then I not only yes, but I meant it.
Man, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Because I can't wait to your program. I'll wait begins to mature, where you are really maturing ladies, because a lot of people do look up to you. I admire you. I think you're an awesome businesswoman. I really, really, really think that today was another level of healing for you to even just talk about this. You did really, really well. I was expecting for you to break down and all of that. You see, I kept switching up questions on you. I had to get you out. But this is really a lot of growth, and for you to come on here and even talk about something like that. We're going to continue these conversations. This stuff needs to happen. This is going to be talked about through your program. And I think Dr. Marika is going to begin to re-establish her program so that sisters and men can begin to deal with bereavement and understand. See, the thing with mental health is half of the battle is us understanding what it is. See, a lot of times we deal with issues and we don't even understand what we're dealing with. It's one of the reasons that we're confused. But when you can identify with the issue that you're dealing with. It's easier to deal with if you know than not know. And so we got a long way to go. We have to begin to heal ourselves, because like I always say, ain't nobody coming for us. They're going to continue to try to create systems to keep us bound in different areas. And we're going to do some self healing. And one of the ways of us doing that is having the subject. And so thank you so much, cousin, for coming on here today and taking the time out to even have this subject matter. I pray that you continue to strive what you have. You're a strong woman, and other women need to see your strength. I want you to get ready, because so many people are going to be calling on you just so that you can help them through these matters. And as you continue to grow, we all just we're behind you. Journey to a Better Help is behind you. Thank you, for being a support. We believe we're going to be doing some walks for health. And one thing that we know for a fact, because of what you've been through and what I've been through and so many others, is that the battle is in the mind. So we have to build our minds and focus on our minds. And Theresa Langdon, we sit here today and we want you to know that we love you as well.
Absolutely.
Other sisters that's going through this thing, we love you, and you can make it through this thing. You can make it through this. Matter of fact, the name of my book is Keep Living. So that's all you can do is keep living, or not, but you be better off to keep living, right? What you got to say?
Because I asked you.
Okay, here we go.
That everything don't have to have a punchline.
Well, it do sometimes. Ain't nothing wrong with having a little fun. Anyway, y'all, we love y'all. See, there's some cousin stuff right here.
No, how if we having serious conversations and then this happens.
Thank you, cousin. We love you so much.
I love you too.
Thank you for coming on here sharing. It was amazing for you, the way you shared these things that you shared. You can make it. Right, cuz?
Yes, absolutely.
You don't have to quit. She didn't know it at the time, but look at her today, sitting here as a giant. And she's getting ready to walk in the community and help many people. So y'all look for Our Weight, because Our Weight is going to help so many sisters get through what they're going through. God bless, and thank everybody for joining us.